first of all, I identify as an actor. That's my primary passion in life, and I'm 31, which means if I'm still doing acting, it's not just a hobby anymore. It's like insanity or something beyond. It's basically something I do, something I can't live without, something I breathe. And it's not like acting, I'm an actor. It's like literally like I'm a suffering artist to a lot of extent. It's basically a huge passion in my life. I make films. I've done 4 films. I've acted in feature films. One of them is still playing. We have 13 awards. I've played scenes with Leonardo DiCaprio, with Jonah Hill. I just played a new show with Kristen Ritter. I produced my own film. I've written several. I produced 2 films that I wrote. I directed one now. I'm in the middle of shooting another film. Still doesn't pay the bills, but one of my points is maybe, and I'm not going to preach here, do this, do that. That's the road to success, because success is very different for everyone. I'm just going to tell you my story and take it or leave it, and I hope it can motivate you or you can learn something from it. For me, passion is something I really strive for. I really needed to find my passion. I was really good at a lot of things, but I was never really good at that one thing. I had friends where somebody became a great skateboarder, somebody was a great photographer, somebody was a great snowboarder, somebody found a business, and a lot of my friends, I have an amazing group of amazing friends. I'm extremely grateful for them and respect them and learn from them. But all of them, a lot of them, most of them found the passion. And for me, I was still aloof. Even at 26, I didn't know what to do. I went to study international business, but then I did theater, and then I played music. I was in bands. I was managing my band and was partying, and then I started another business. I went bankrupt with one. I was basically just like trying to find myself and what am I going to do with my life. I was partying all over the world. You know, this panel is called Jet Setters, so yeah, I've done a lot of that. Yeah, but not really knowing what am I going for, because I had this like one big thing that I was missing, which was passion. I really needed that. And I'll go back in the story, but basically what it was acting in theater and just essentially telling a story. And I needed to find that. Not everybody needs to. Some people are content with their 9-to-5 job and paying their bills on time and leasing a car, which is fine. It's not any better or worse. For me, it was not sufficient. I had a nice company, I had a nice BMW, I had a nice girlfriend, I owned my own apartment at 18, and I was super miserable because I was not making money off of my passion. I just had a business idea that worked at that time. I was born in Poland, as I mentioned earlier. I was 5 years old when we moved to Finland because of my father's job. My father's an international piano teacher and pedagogue. He's an amazing man and human being and a father figure. I've learned immensely from my father. He was a concert pianist until I was born, and then he started teaching, and now he has students from all over the world, literally from Kuwait, from China, from Japan, from the United States, from Canada, from Brazil, from all over the world. A lot of his students have won big competitions. And my father's basic motivation is passion. He's never made a lot of money off of his knowledge and know-how and passion, essentially, once again. But he's one of the happiest people I've ever known in my life. He's never once complained having to go to work, and he works like a man. He's turning 70 years old next year. He teaches at a university full-time, he teaches at music academy full-time, and he has private students. He's never tired, he loves his job. That was my goal in life, and I am getting there, and I wish we all find that. Because I had a lot of friends whose parents were like, oh shit, I gotta go to work, I hate going to work, and even people my age already hating their jobs. And I never understood that. Why would you live your life like that? It's like you have your one life. Are you going to spend the whole of your life hating your life? Like, it never seemed to make any sense. So, fast forward, I grew up in Finland. I didn't like it because I was the Polish kid. You know, I was the only foreign kid. Basically, our family was the only foreign family, so I was picked on a lot. I had to fight for my existence every single day. So I didn't have a chance to like build up a healthy, self-image. It was a lot of this racist shit, unfortunately, which made me stronger, thank God. So I always had this thing that I have to show them where it is. I have to show myself and somebody else that I'm actually a pretty good guy, and I'm not that dumb or stupid or whatever it was. Kids can be really mean, and I don't blame them. It's just kids. So as soon as I could, I moved away, following my younger brother's lead actually. He moved to Sweden. I soon moved to Sweden as well. Before that, I studied abroad in Iceland. I went to Reykjavik for half a year. Then I studied international business, and then I did my internship for European Union in Brussels for 6 months, basically at a lobby office, and just being super bored and writing reports that probably nobody would ever read, and partying a lot for sure. That was fun. And then before I graduated, I started my own company, which was just basically in construction. Like once Poland, this is going to bore you, I'm just going to tell you my story. So basically Poland joined the European Union in 2004, and I saw a window and opportunity. We started importing a lot of workforce from Poland to Finland. We had over 300 guys in construction workers, electricians, vents guys, basically. We started hiring them from Poland to Finland, and it was really easy money. And we were building massive projects, several €100 million business cities, and these massive, basically, shopping malls and shipbuilding industry and all of that. But I wasn't happy. I was super miserable, and I was making a lot of money for a young age, and I didn't know what to do. So I just kept buying toys and partying, but still being just lost. So I basically went bankrupt with my company very soon because I didn't care about anything. Because I was still looking to find that passion of mine. So I drove that company to bankruptcy, which I didn't care. It was a great lesson, and I'm actually really happy that I learned it then and not now. So I learned it at a very young age, early 20s, and it was a great lesson to learn. So looking for that passion, I spent the year 2008 just basically contemplating what to do with my life. And thanks to my dear loving mother, she was always pushing me, you should go to theater school, you should do acting. We've always been, we loved to do theater as a kid. So I went and moved to Sweden, went to acting school. In between, I went to enroll at Stockholm University to study fashion marketing. It was just something whatever, I'm just going to study fashion marketing because I was really good at selling jeans at the store at a summer job. So I went to study fashion marketing. But soon I got into acting school. It's a one-year course. I didn't finish that either because I had a big beef with my teacher, who was an old-school Polish guy. And we hated each other, even though I had a lot of respect for him. One of the biggest things I learned from him that I apply to this very day is a simple thing that really helps me in life and helps a lot of people, especially in a city like New York, just being on time. It's such a simple thing, but for a lot of people it seems to be impossible. And I mean at work, social occasions, whatever. But especially on a film set, I'll just tell you the film we just made in January, it's a 15-minute film. It cost €50,000. So imagine, just do the math, how much money does 1 minute of that film cost? And if even one person is late, and we always when we work in film, we always work as a team. Everybody is just as important. The actor is just as important as the PA, the director is just as important as the gaffer. Everybody is working towards the same goal, to making a great story, to making a great film. So everyone's basically important. If somebody is late, it's gonna throw everybody off, so it doesn't work. And whether you work in fashion, whether you work in finance, whether you work in whatever field, whatever position, being late is just, professionally, super disrespectful, and it really, really throws everybody off. And you can lose your job, basically, because of that. And on the other side of that, if you're being on time, which is such an easy thing to do, essentially, you can gain a lot, so much. And I work in so many different fields, and for example, in New York, I worked at a law firm for 2 years. And the simplest thing, just being on time, really made a huge difference. So I don't want to get stuck on that. But continuing, I came to New York in 2010 to continue my acting training. I went to study at Still Adler Studio, and I graduated in 2012. I just basically found my passion. I realized this is something that I am pretty good at, and I can be better, and I have so much more to learn. And I want to learn. It still hasn't bored me, because a lot of the things and jobs and professions and careers that I had would just bore me to death within a month or two. And I just didn't want to, I just didn't feel the need to learn anything. But acting, there was always something more. Like the more I learned, the less I knew, and like I just realized I don't know anything, and I had this like immense hunger for more knowledge, and that I think is one of the biggest things in life, to find that passion, that you find something that is like an eternal well, or like eternal hunger for something bigger, because I believe that you can only be good at something if you really love doing it. Because if you're just doing it for the prestige or for the job, for the money, for whatever, you're never going to be the best of the best. And I actually want to be best of the best. I don't know if I ever will be, but that's what I'm striving for. But if I would be just doing it because it's cool, or because my friends are doing it, or for whatever other reason that be my passion, I would never become, essentially I would never be happy doing that, because I would be knowing that I'm doing it for the wrong reasons. So I graduated in 2012, and I was here on an F1 visa, which is the student visa. I'm sure a lot of you guys are on that student visa. So the next step was basically the OPT, which is the optional practical training period, which is pretty much that 1 year that you have. And after the OPT, you can apply for an artist visa. Well, essentially you can apply for an artist visa whenever and wherever, because the artist visa essentially is a work visa in the United States. It was introduced, if I remember correctly, in 1991. It's basically to help foreign artists, established artists outside of the United States, to work legally in the United States in either entertainment or arts, television, motion picture, athletes. It essentially can be in any given field if you are distinctive, if you're really good at your field. I've helped and seen friends get artist visas as producers, as models, as singers, public speakers, as many, many, many different professions. There are no limitations. So for me, being on the OPT, basically I had 1 year, and my goal was to get the artist visa because I wanted to stay in the United States, work here legally, and stay longer. So what did I do on my OPT? Is any of you on the OPT right now? F1 students? Okay. So the OPT is basically that 1 year that you have. You can legally work in the United States in your field, whatever that field is. What I strongly suggest, if you want to take any suggestions, is make the most out of it. A lot of my friends got most out of it partying at Provocateur or having brunch at Lavo and dancing at the box, and that all is fine. It's all fine to go clubbing and dancing and doing whatever, but it's not going to get you any closer to the artist visa. I promise you that. You're not going to meet anyone at a club that's going to help you get your artist visa. So basically you have this 1 year, and it doesn't have to be boring, just grinding, but basically you have 1 year of proving the immigration authorities, that you're worthy of getting the artist visa. So what I did during the OPT, when my friends were partying, and I was too at some point when there was time for it, but basically I was doing a lot of work, mostly for free, to build up my resume. Because artist visas are, these work visas, the O1B visas, are given to established artists from outside of the United States. Now, if you are a graduating student, you just graduated, say LIM, and you don't have much of a resume, working resume, you just basically graduated, you're a young student, you won't qualify unless you have, big fat portfolio of work that you can show to the visa authorities that you actually qualify for the artist visa. So what you have to do is basically make that portfolio. It can take forever, but it doesn't have to. For me, what worked during that 1 year of OPT, I just took any and every single job I could. Most of it was for free. I had to forget my ego. I had to swallow a lot of my pride, and because I feel personally that everyone should be and get paid for what they do for a living. And sure, if they're starting, they get paid less, and the better and stronger you become, you get paid more. But generally, I feel everybody should get paid for what they do. But I took a lot of jobs for free, because especially as an actor, there's so much competition just because how the market looks like here in the United States, that a lot of the jobs that you get offered are for free, and a lot of them are, part of my French, but just basically bullshit. But on paper, they might look very good, because the people who decide about your visa are either in Vermont or in California. There are two immigration offices in the United States that deal with artist visas, and they are based in Vermont and in California. And these people don't come to see your shows. They don't know if the show was good or bad, if it was big or small. The only thing they look at, the only thing they see is the documentation that you present them that proves or gives any information about this project you were in. So for example, I was doing a little theater play called Find Your O about feminism and finding female orgasm. That was the play about. I was doing that show in Bushwick, outside theater. It was a bunch of friends that we got together. It was a lot of fun. It was not maybe, artistically or, in any way, huge or commercially successful, but it was a lot of fun. But what I got out of it, and which was my whole point, was a flyer, documentation, and basically all this stuff that can be used as evidence to basically prove the immigration authorities that I am a working artist. Because the artist visa is not meant to be given to students or just graduating students or anything else but artists, established artists. So I was building my resume like that, doing these projects and doing short films for free, and sometimes they were good, sometimes they were better, and sometimes they were terrible. But I was basically what I was doing through my whole 1 year of OPT. My time done? And so I was just building my resume, which is the whole point of OPT. I mean, maybe there's some other point I haven't gotten it. That was the point for me, to build up my OPT, my resume, so I can apply for an artist visa and actually stand a chance. Because when the time came finally for me after that 1 year of OPT to apply for my artist visa, I went to see a lawyer. I was working at a law firm at the same time. So my boss had a friend, and obviously lawyers know each other's, and I was working at a prominent Manhattan personal injury law firm, but my boss had a friend who was doing immigration, and I went to see this lawyer, and he basically said, you don't have a chance, you're not an established artist. Because the way lawyers work, in certain fields, especially for example like personal injury that I work with, they only take cases they can win, so they don't take cases they can't win. But in case of artist visas, they will take, like a lot of the lawyers will take your case and will take your money even though they can't win. So you might spend several $1,000s, you basically hand out that money to a lawyer, and there's no promises made. They just tell, if they take your case, they'll just let you know, we'll try our best, and you will get or you won't get your artist visa. Still you end up spending that money. The lawyer I met with was a friend of my boss, so he was honest enough to tell me that I don't have a chance, I'm not an established artist. Obviously, I didn't believe it because I'm here. And one thing I want to talk about in general, just to motivate you, is like never take no for an answer. And career-wise, I've always been very rebellious ever since I was a kid. My mother always tells me you've always gotten whatever you wanted. I've always gone and went through the wall. To people tell me no, I'll double show them that it's possible. And my motto is always, when there's a will, there's a way. Or as I misspelled it, where there's a will, there's a way. However you want to work around it. Basically, this lawyer tells me you don't have a chance. So basically, I was being told that I have to go back to wherever I came from, and I happened to move here from Stockholm, Sweden. I didn't have a life there anymore. My parents, my whole family had moved to Poland in the meantime. So I was like, I don't know what to do. I mean, I could have been like that, but I knew exactly what I had to do. I have to find another lawyer. At that time, I was a struggling artist. I didn't have any money. I don't come from money, quite the contrary. So I started, gathering money to get another lawyer. Some lawyer would take my case. But lawyers for artist visas cost anything starting, I think the cheapest ones go for $2,500 up to usually $8,000 and even more. I did not have that money, so what did I do? I started a Kickstarter campaign begging my friends and other people to fund my lawyer basically to get an artist visa. I got some money together. I got $1,700 minus the cost of Kickstarter, so I got like half. It was not enough. I was a little desperate, but I still just basically believed I can do this. I can do this, and mostly I was so angry at the lawyer. I'm like, F you, dude, I'm gonna show you I'm gonna do this. All my friends were, are you crazy? Because I told them I'm gonna do it without a lawyer. Because there's a common misconception that for an artist visa you need a lawyer. That is not true. You do not need a lawyer to get an artist visa. And you really don't need one either. And sure, if you can afford to have one, by all means, I have nothing against lawyers, but mind you, lawyers are just people. And law is not rocket science. and you can find everything online and save thousands and thousands of dollars. Because it's your career, it's your life, it's your artist visa. Your lawyer would not, I'd say, I don't know most of the lawyers, but a lot of lawyers will take your case just like you're just a number for them. And their life, I mean, essentially they're not going to cry over your life, whether you get your artist visa or not. Because if they would cry themselves to death, because a lot of people don't get their visas. So basically, I felt I am responsible for my visa. My visa meant my career, my visa meant my life, my visa meant what am I going to do next. And I figured it means a lot more to me than to some random lawyer that I would hand out a lot of money to. So I figured I'm going to do it myself. And long story short, I did it. And I spent long nights at the law firm until 11 p.m. or longer at our Empire State Building 72nd floor office, which kind of sounds cool, but it was basically a shit ton of work. I want to once again repeat, it's not rocket science. Everything's found online. You can do everything yourself. It's just a lot of work. But I did it, and I got my artist visa within 11 days, which is a record time. It's basically as short a time as you can get it, with a lawyer as well. So the next step was, okay, I got my artist visa, and I started working as an actor in New York, and I've been blessed and honored to get a lot of work as an actor, and more so, going into writing and making films myself. In the meantime, a lot of my friends figured out, you got your artist visa without a lawyer, can you help me out? So I started helping them out. And most of my friends used a lawyer, but since a lot of them didn't do anything during the OPT period besides partying and doing, nothing essential to the artist visa, a lot of them didn't get the artist visas. A good example, a friend of mine paid $5,000 to a lawyer and didn't get his artist visa. Another amazing friend of mine, she paid $8,000 to an artist visa lawyer and didn't get her artist visa. I paid zero money to any lawyers and I got mine in 11 days. My total cost was shipping costs, printing costs. Actually, no printing because I printed everything for free in my law firm. So whatever FedEx costs and the application fee, which I think is $325. So what I did next is I figured, I know how this works. I feel bad for a lot of my friends and a lot of international artists who want to work here legally. Why don't I help them? And here comes another thing that I feel, and it goes back to passion about money. I didn't do it for the money. Artist Visa USA is not at all my primary source of income. I don't do it for money. I barely charge people. I do a lot of pro bono work. And that's another thing, like, just finding motivation. Like, I don't think money is a great motivator. I've had sometimes more money and sometimes I've had less money. I've never been happy with the more money or less money. It's always about the passion and the love and honesty to my own work. And once again, like, if money is the motivator for me, it doesn't work. It's not going to make me happy. I get a lot more pleasure out of when I performed at Metropolitan Opera and just getting 2,000-3,000 people clapping. Or like somebody yesterday emailed me saying, I love your film, I love your work, it's so amazing, it changed my life. That's what motivates me, and not some check, that I get. Which is fine, sure, I need to pay my bills also, don't we all? So I started Artist Visa USA, and I started helping people get their artist visas, friends and colleagues, and suddenly people started referring me to friends that they knew that I could help. Some common myths that I've heard so many weird stuff that because people are always afraid of some legal stuff, and especially artists, whatever your background is, whether you're a visual artist or photographer or a designer, whatever, a lot of people like us don't have any knowledge about legal stuff and don't even want anything to do with it, and it's like this big fearful thing. And a lot of people don't need to either.
So sorry, but the panel ends by 3:15.
I'm so sorry.
And then there's also time for Q&A where you can contribute.
I'm so sorry.
I'm
so sorry, guys. Anyways, I'm gonna stop here. It's artistvisusa.com. My information is everywhere.
Mine won't be that long, so
yeah. My information is all over whatever the panel. So if you have questions, you're welcome to call me. I'm actually off to Europe on Monday for a couple of weeks, so I won't be available. Questions, please, if you have any.
Question taken on 315, but we will
Alright.
have to.
And it's fine, mine is short.
Sorry, you have a presentation or?
No, I'm just talking.
Okay, you can talk, because the panel is till 3:15, so.
Perfect. As I said, mine won't be very long. I'll just briefly go through my story, kind of a short version. My name is Erica Fox, and I'm from Ireland. I run my own fashion blog called Retro Flame, and I also work as a social media manager at Vince Camuto. I don't know if you know that brand, it's here in New York. So basically I moved here 6 months ago on a J1 visa. So in Ireland, my background is in commerce, marketing, so I studied that for 4 years, and then in Ireland we have this opportunity to get a J1, it's called a J1 intern visa, so you can move here and intern, work in an industry that you studied. So for me, I had to get a job in fashion marketing. So I'll be honest, it wasn't the easiest thing to do. So I moved here and I was like, yeah, I have this visa, I can work now in New York, I'm qualified, but a lot of companies were quite slow to hire me on this visa. It's tricky, so they kind of look at me being like, okay, you're qualified, you have this experience, you're okay for this job, but realistically we only have you for a year because the intern visa is only for a year and then you have to apply for the next one, which is the H1B, which I'm in the process of applying for right now. So a lot of companies will look at me and they're kind of like, well, we can just hire someone from America. It's easier, they're here for the long run. But saying that, I kept going and I actually just got this job a month ago. So up until now I was kind of doing freelance, and before I moved here I was doing my blog full time, so I was able to keep doing that and keep my income coming in through that. But then I have to get the job in the end because for the visa, they basically, you have to go home. So I got the job, thank God, with Vince Camuto. What I do there is I do the social media. So not for Vince Camuto itself, I help on that side of things, but I also do it for Louise Camuto. It's actually his wife who has her own section now, wearing some shoes if you want to follow along. It's just Louise Camuto on Instagram and Facebook and Twitter. So I'm there at the moment and they're in the process of applying for a H1B for me. So what the H1B is, to be honest, I'm still kind of learning a lot about the visas as well. I've been here 6 months, but you really have to learn when you're wanted so bad, and as you were saying, you just you stay up late and you do the research. And I actually am working with a lawyer through Camuto Group. They were kind enough to do that for me. So before I agreed to take the job at Camuto, I basically said to them, I really wanted the job and I was like, God, I hope this doesn't turn them off. But I was kind of will you be in a position to apply for the next visa for me? Because if not, I probably won't be able to take the job, as I need to find a company who will do the process for me. So they were really good. They, luckily enough, have an in-house lawyer. They're quite a big company here, which I'll go on to tell you is aim for the bigger ones, the more established, the ones that are kind of making more money, those companies, because they'll have the money to sponsor you. So they're applying for everything for me, so luckily for me I don't actually have to pay anything. So they're applying for that for me at the moment. I think I'll find out in the next few weeks or the next month or so. And then the H1B will allow me to be here for another 2.5 years working with this company. So that's what that involves. So if you do get the H1B, not that you're stuck with the company you get it for, but you kind of are encouraged to stay with them because they did it for you. But there is opportunity to transfer the H1B visa to a different company if it gets approved. So it's a little bit complicated, but the kind of advice is if you can get the H1B initially, you can figure out the rest afterwards. But saying that, the H1B is a lottery system. So I'm in the process of applying for that right now, but it's not guaranteed if I actually will get it. So it's tricky. If I don't get that one, I'll have to start looking into other ones, so might be on to you. Yeah.
Is there no longer lifespan?
For the H1B?
Yeah.
Well, the one I'm on is just for a year, so you can get that. You can work for a year and travel for 6 months, the J1, and I got that because I graduated from Ireland and they let you come here, but then the next step is the H1B. Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, there's definitely other ones, more kind of trainee ones. I know there is one more I could do, say if I did move back to Ireland, work there for 2 years and then come back again. But obviously I don't want to move back to Ireland. So, not in a bad way, but this is obviously better here. So yeah, I'll keep you updated on how it goes. It's a lottery system. Apparently last year it was like 1 in every 3 got the visa that I'm applying for. So yeah, it's kind of a nerve-wracking situation. But saying that, I mean, as you were saying, like the fees are so expensive, and like it would be such a risk, like paying $2,000 or $3,000, and you might even get it. Because I have friends that are doing that right now. Like they're with smaller companies. For example, one of my friends, she's working as a content manager with just a very small company. It's just 3 of them, and she's had to pay for everything herself. So I guess I was lucky that I was in the bigger company and they kind of take care of it for you. So when you are job hunting, or if you are looking for like internships, or just kind of think of the long term and think like, okay, I wonder will this company actually have enough money to do this for me? Because that's the mistake you could make, because I was doing kind of some freelance work when I moved here first with smaller startups, and I love startups. To be honest, I prefer working with startups because you have a lot of responsibility and it's exciting. But from a visa point of view, it's not always the best option because startups don't have that much money ever, unless they get bigger. So yeah, that's kind of the main advice I have to you when you are job hunting or you're looking for specific companies. So yeah, that's kind of my story so far. With LIM Panel, I do all the social media, and I guess I was lucky. I mean, I studied marketing in college, and I've done internships. So I spent 2 summers here before I moved here for the year. I came on J1 summer visa. You can do that for Ireland as well. So the first summer I interned at a PR company. I was like, 19 or 20, like or something really young. Worked at a PR company, and then at the end of the summer I got an internship with Whitney Ford from the city in the hills. So I was working at Fashion Week with her, and then went back to Ireland, finished off college, came back here again last summer and worked with Refinery 29 for a summer. Worked with them, was really fun. And then went home for a year, did my blog full time. Ireland's much smaller, so there's like less bloggers, so I was able to do it full time and make a living, but I was like saving to come here on the graduate visa for a year. And then I moved over here, and for September I worked with Olivia Palermo at Fashion Week, which was really fun. And then just did some freelance stuff, and here I am at LIM now. So the long story short, New York, I mean, it kind of throws a lot of curveballs at you, and you're here one minute and you're like loving life and everything's going really well, and then something happens and you're like, oh geez, like I need to, like what am I going to do next? But what my advice is, like for every bad day there's a good day coming. So if you have a bad day with being a situation, or if you're like, oh it's never going to happen, don't give up, just keep going. And all my friends are the same, like we come together in the evenings and we're like, so why did we move to New York? Anyone have any big ideas why we came here? And then the next day we're like, oh my god, I love my life. Like we're like driving over the Williamsburg Bridge or whatever, and we're like, oh this is amazing. So yeah, that's kind of my main advice. Keep persisting and keep going, and look for the bigger companies. Be really like, not strict with them, but really tell them what you want and tell them your long-term goals, because they'll appreciate it, and if they really want you, they'll find a way to keep you. That's what I've been told, and that's what people keep telling me. And even the company that I'm working with now, I'm a month in, and they're like, we really want to keep you. I mean, we're not gonna let you go, so they'll find a way around it. So it's just getting your foot in the door, and then the rest kind of comes together. Fingers crossed. But yeah, I have a blog as well, as I said, so it's called Retro Flame. So I'm on Instagram and Twitter and Facebook and everything, and I'm doing that full time as well in the evening. So I have my 9 to 5s and I have my like 5 to 12 every day. So yeah, feel free to follow along. And as I said, I'm doing social media for Louise Camuto. So yeah, you can keep up to date, and if you have any questions, feel free to email me at any stage, or I'll be around afterwards as well.